know, we're making sacrifices to be out here, to wake people up and to help people. We're going to be helping homeless people. We're going to be helping people that have slipped through this uncaring system. And, you know, we want to make government more accountable, and Aspire, which is my organisation, has been set up to make government accountable. So it stands for Accountable System Project of International Redevelopment and Evolution, and it's making government accountable so we can drive the corruption and the money out of politics. It's making the system accountable from the people, by the people, for the people.
Spikes! 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 Right.
We really need the people of this country and around the world, but first and foremost the people of this country, to wake up to what's going on in our name, in front of us, in front of our very eyes, whether it be the illegal wars, whether it be the measures being taken that is pushing those of us who are down there in society even further down, whilst those who are up there, the elite, getting further up and creating a massive distance in terms of the haves and the have-nots.
World order! World evolution!
Revolution! I'm out to create my own system with my friends. So we're creating a new system that's based on love, that's based on truth, justice, and respect and cooperation. You know, yeah. I mean, we've got a system that's all about competition and control. I don't want that. I don't think any of you guys want that. So, you know, we can fight it. We can say we don't want this anymore. We can make these politicians accountable, and we can hold them to account. And you know, however that happens, it will happen. It will. There'll be millions of us on the street at some point, and things will change. You know, this is maybe just a catalyst event today to kickstart this thing. You know, just the spark that we need. You know, but we're all revolutionaries if we believe in a cause and we believe that we can change things. So, you know, that's what we're here for, to make a change.
Whether it be paedophilia inside and outside of Parliament, I mean, all of this is happening in front of us, and the people still seem to be asleep. I mean, I think that what's taken place already, even with the cover-up at the BBC with Jimmy Savile, I mean, all of that is a damn insult to us. The BBC, I hope you're not the BBC, the BBC is supposed to be the eyes and ears of the general public, to keep a check on power, to make sure that they're not abusing their position that we give to them as a people. But nonetheless, they seem to be a propaganda machine for the state, for them to be able to kind of brainwash the people on a mass scale, to be able to get away with things that we ought to be up in arms about.
They call it national security. I call it deniability. They call it profit. I call it greed.
And so, my first start and my first journey into this, my crusade, started with a basic fraud, which led me as an engineering officer in the Royal Air Force to understand the mechanics of organised crime and boiler rooms. Those boiler rooms are moving money in international boiler rooms to Australia, Canada, Germany, Cyprus. They're all interlocked, and they're all controlled by very senior members of the House of Lords. Don't deny that. You can have a look. Just check those addresses. Look at all the companies. In one particular company, under Company Directors Limited and Temple Secretaries, you will find that they control over 460,000 companies. That's 4 people controlling over 500,000 shell companies. Ask yourself, where is the money for our health services? Where are the money for the police? Where are the money for the fire department? Where's it gone? They're cutting down on the police forces. These are the people that protect our country. The National Health Services, it's going to be privatised. People like Sir Malcolm Rifkin, if you check and know how to check corporate documents, What you will find is that Sir Malcolm Rifkin is a co-director with Sir John Chilcot. Now, I don't have to tell you about the Chilcot report. 5 years to produce a report.
Whitewash.
So, ask yourselves this. The City of London, the capital, the financial capital of the world, protects a very, very important syndicate of very high-ranking people, and they are politicians, members of the House of Lords. If you check the directorship list of those companies, oil, gas and mining companies, you will find what I found 10 years ago. It's vile, billion-pound organised crime, fraud, theft and money laundering. This is nothing to do with genuine companies. I have been an expert at dismantling corporate oil, gas and mining companies that are shell companies. That means that they're director-only companies that operate on the alternative investment market. The alternative investment market is a casino. It's a casino for organised crime, fraud, theft, money laundering and insider trading. And if you know anything about the stock exchange and the penny stock, if you check some of the companies that I've exposed, I will name them. I'm not ashamed to name them, and I'm not scared to be called by the directors of those companies to face them in a court of law. I exposed 5 companies that operate purportedly in the Falkland Islands. They are Desire Petroleum, Rockhopper Resources, Falklands Oil and Gas, Argus Exploration. These are some of the companies, including Border and Southern Petroleum, that are virtual companies. That means that they are director-only cash shells that by law only have to have a website and an AIM Rule 26 admission document. And then, as small startup companies, they can raise millions. Between those 5 companies, they raised over £1 billion. It's all gone. They've stolen it. They've stolen it because they moved it to subsidiary companies structured in the British Virgin Islands, Panama, Cyprus. That money has been silted out of those companies, not just by ordinary directors. These directors are nothing more than con artists, and they take you people for idiots. It's there. All you have to know is the keys to open those doors, to look at those companies and understand how they can steal billions. Those are the companies that we should get the politicians to investigate. You're talking about those addresses that I mentioned in Finchley Road. Anybody can use the internet and ask why 2 companies, Red Star Enterprises and Minacorp, were structured out of that address by the directors of those company administrators, Company Directors Limited and Temple Secretaries. Those companies have been put under inquiry by the United States Senate for stealing $1.5 billion of the American defense budget. Why didn't our David Cameron, Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, why didn't any of those stand up and say, why aren't we investigating those companies? Why aren't we checking those addresses to find out why there's 500,000 shell companies that have no financial records, that tend to asset strip public listed companies which are fake oil, gas and mining companies. They're talking about us running out of oil. If you check the alternative investment market, you will find that there are over 1,300 fake oil, gas and mining companies, all run by the same bunch of directors. Now, if you were to be £400 in debt every month, your bank would cut up your credit cards. How come these companies are allowed to raise billions, and there is no accountability? Why? Because those directors of those virtual oil, gas and mining companies are the funders of political parties. And that's where you don't understand. I'm trying to give you little keys that you can check yourself. And I hope for your children, for your grandchildren, you will look there and make these people, politicians, accountable. The police, how many restrictions have they had in their sort of manpowering, where they're restricted to street patrols? Some of them haven't even got cars. Some of them resort to paper cutouts outside supermarkets. If that's what this country is all about, where our intelligence services are protecting this country, then there's something wrong. look at the financials of organised crime, and somewhere in each of those companies you'll find a politician or a member of the House of Lords. It's knowing where to look, knowing where to dismantle them, and understanding the mechanics of organised crime.
Our street! Our street! Our street! Our street!
I can't hear you! Who's street?
Our street!
Who's street?
Our street!
Who's street?
Our street! One solution! One solution!
Using a UOR, which is an urgent operation requirement invoice, to purchase 3 cylinders from Armscore via Astra Holdings, which were then railed from Durban onto a ship, and Dr. David Kelly, apparently from my source, moved those weapons to Oman for the retake of Kuwait. Those weapons were then put in a storage facility, and they were used as a deterrent and a retaliatory weapon should Saddam use chemical or bioagents against our coalition and UK forces. As we know, no such weapons were used against us, and so those weapons remained in a storage facility until the cessation of hostilities. I am told by my source that Dr. David Kelly, at the cessation of hostilities, went back to organise the movement and onward shipping of those 3 20-kiloton nukes to Chicago for decommissioning. When he opened up the containers, they were missing. I am told by my source that those weapons found their way into Iraq and then onward into Syria. I am told this, I swear by Almighty God, that this is the information that's been given to me, where our politicians are accountable for those nuclear weapons that were lost. I am further told that one of those weapons was detonated by North Korea on the 23rd of May 2009.
People have had enough. They've had enough. We don't believe the lies of these politicians anymore. Okay? We've had enough of their propaganda. We see children dying in Palestine, babies being killed. And it's not in my name, and I'm not going to pay taxes anymore. I'm not doing a 9 to 5 anymore. I'm going to be part of the occupation, and you're welcome to join us. We're having a 3-month occupation starting this evening in London, and wherever you want to be, the main event's going to be in London. We're going to occupy certain places. Some of them will be undisclosed, some of them will be disclosed, where we're going to go out and inform people, help homeless. We're going to help people, everyday people, to understand the corruption, the depth of corruption that's happening in this country, the theft of the money, the fake austerity that's keeping us all in poverty. They're keeping us down. This is severe fascism that's going on, dressed up as a democracy. And you know what? This thing about elections, voting, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't make a difference. As Mark Twain said, if it made a difference, they wouldn't allow you to do it. Okay? Voting, it's a waste of time. So it's the illusion of choice, the red and the blue. Yeah, these people, they're very, very clever the way that they've engineered this system. Okay? But the point is now, the internet has expedited this global revolution, this global enlightenment. And we in London, we are the spearheading the resistance. We're the fight back people. We are the revolution. We will occupy.
The forensic evidence that we give them today, they will be complicit in a crime against the British people. The BBC are biased, we know, but if they cover this story up, withhold information, censor information on this particular story, then they are complicit in the biggest political scandal in this country's history.
Fraud, theft, money laundering, I could put a few politicians away for many, many years. Tony Blair, David Cameron, Michael Howard, they're all in it. They're all lining their pockets. If you want to know, just give me a call. If you remember Diana in the Angolan minefields, she was wearing a tabard called the Hallow Trust. One of the directors of the Hallow Trust is a guy called Aldwyn James Glendining Wright. He is an ex-SAS commander, and he also operates with another gentleman called Mark Blagborough. They in turn operated a company called Arlington Associates Limited, which was funded by a company called Lonro. And when Lonro operated in controlling Africa for its mineral wealth, what they used was money, dirty money, to bung money to corrupt politicians to control the mineral wealth. And what they were doing was they were not only supplying weapons and logistical support, they were then controlling the rebel factions which were stirring up the trouble to maintain control of African states like Angola, Chad, Niger, Sierra Leone. This is our military, our senior SAS commanders, and they were funded by and in conjunction with Lonro. Check it out. Check Diana's tabard when she was in the minefield. And you ask me why she died. A woman called Ambassador Francis D. Cook ran. It was called Oryx Natural Resources. And those SAS commanders were the support structures with people like Simon Mann, Tim Spicer, Tony Buckingham, who were part of the conservative Grandee network of controlling the mineral wealth of Africa. You send £2 a month when they ask you on Sky and Virgin TV, £2 a month for little Seasway to have fresh drinking water. I tell you what, you ask Tony Blair for it.
To expose the politicians, the criminals. We've got evidence of politicians defrauding the British public. We're going to the BBC now. Okay, let's go.
BBC! 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 Okay, we're outside the BBC, and we have with us today ex-RAF serviceman Gordon Bowden, who has forensic evidence that David Cameron and his government are complicit in money laundering, insider trading, and fake companies. And many of the sponsors of the Conservative Party have contributed money from fake companies that are located on Finchley Road. There are over 250,000 fake companies, of which Gordon has told us. So BBC, you will be complicit in a cover-up of the biggest political scandal in British history if you do not take this forensic information, forensic evidence, examine it and present it to the British people, because they have a right to know that their government is nothing more than a fascist dictatorship. It's a fascist dictatorship run by a bunch of crooks that's defrauding the British public out of millions and millions and millions, in some cases billions of pounds. Okay, so do we have somebody from the BBC that would like to come and take this evidence from me?
Well, I've got a sequence of documents I've presented in the Royal Courts of Justice in a civil case.
Ah, so this is an ongoing legal matter, yes?
As far as the case is concerned, it's a closed case because the woman has done a runner. She fled the country pre her criminal trial. But our civil case was in a defamation case where I produced evidence which linked her to the Finchley Road addresses. She was convicted on 26 of 27 charges of criminal fraud, theft, money laundering, and operating for a bigger network. And it's that network which I have exposed over many years, using my forensic skills as an engineering officer and a mining engineer. And that's what I would like somebody, one reporter, and I've been to see Alistair Osborne when he was at the Telegraph. I've given that evidence.
So you've given this to other media organisations already?
Not specific about this.
Right.
This was to do with fake oil, gas and mining companies, of which Lonro was the surrounding, you know about Lonro, and a guy, an Australian called David Anthony Lenigas. You ever heard of his name? I'm sure you do.
Yes, yeah.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I'm not
He runs 147.
I should tell you, I'm not a journalist, by the way.
I know. No.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like an opportunity to present to a legitimate representative of a media to show how governments or certain members of government protect addresses of boiler rooms operating out of the City of London. And I will name them, the politicians.
Let me have a word with my editorial team downstairs.
Okay, not a problem.
Big scoop.
No. This is something. This is something that if
And I'll
there's to
discuss
be.
it with them. Give me a few minutes, yeah?
Yeah. No.
And I'll come and have a chat with you one-on-one, yeah?
No, that's not a problem.
Have a
I
discussion
thank you
with
very much.
That's all right, no problem at all.
Okay, the statue up there on the BBC building was sculpted by Eric Gill in 1932. He was known for erotic art and eventually incest, having sex with animals and having sex with children. And obviously with Jimmy Savile, Rolf Harris and the rest of the guys from the BBC, it's clear that they're part of something bigger, and also they haven't taken part in the child trafficking network that's going on within the UK, the social services and metropolitan police and stuff.
The biggest political scandal in UK history.
If you understand the legalities of any accusations made, where implications are made about massive fraud, theft and money laundering, the worst thing that we want to do is diminish any investigation that may get these people off. So I've handed a few forensic documents over. They're going to do their own investigation, and with a bit of luck, things will progress from there. But that's what I'm hoping for, is that we plant a seed that these people will not get away. They are public servants. They will be accountable to the people of this country. That's it.
You guys, whether you want to rally somewhere or
Balls, when I saw you disappearing inside the BBC, I could not believe it.
But don't be, too difficult with it. It's good. It's always good when you are corporate. I understand because I know. Trust me. I know what happens at care homes. I know what happens with social workers. So I have sympathy for you. I really do, because I know what happens to the children who are looked after in care. That's a matter of fact, because I have seen it over and over again. And many times, those who have been abused in the care system, they come out. By the time they come out, they are the ones who end up in prison more than anyone else. And they are the ones who have had their life ruined by the government. And when they come out, the government tells them, oh no, you can't have compensation because you have had trouble with law. And the reason why they have had trouble with law is because of the abuse they experienced when they were living in the care home. So I really and truly support you. And,
What we've achieved today is something really historic. I'll just digress slightly and say that in 2003 I was part of a demonstration where there were 1.5 million people here that marched around the whole of London against this corrupt government and the corrupt war, the illegal war against the Iraqi people. 1.5 million of us didn't change the decision of the government to go to war. But today, with about 300 people, 250, 300 people, we took documentary evidence to the BBC, and Gordon Bowden, the ex-serviceman, the RF serviceman, who's been looking at this information forensically for the last 13 years, compiling all this documentary evidence by looking at companies' house websites, doing cross-referencing, cross-checking. Gordon actually went into the BBC today and delivered that information. So we know now that the BBC have this information. If they don't release this information to the British public, they don't investigate it and release it, and we know it's true, if they don't release this to the British public, they are complicit in a cover-up against the British people. The British people need to know that this massive fraud's been going on, where billions and billions of pounds have been taken off them through the debt facilities from the banks. And this is all part of the austerity. This austerity has been created by these people here to keep the British public in servitude, in slavery. And what happens is when you actually scratch the veneer of the surface of this so-called democracy, you realise that it's just an illusion of choice. So what we've done today is we've made a landmark step. It's been a catalyst today. It's the first step in making these people accountable, and we've got to have a new system of administration. So we're saying no more unaccountable government, and we want accountable administration from the people, for the people, by the people. So thanks very much for everybody that supported us today, and watch this space and let's see what happens. And I think everybody, if they can share these videos that these guys are making,
because everybody needs to know this. And then, you know, the more people that know, the more people are going to question and wake up other people. And that's how society changes, you know. Protesting is great, but it needs awareness, general awareness. Knowledge is power, so let's get the knowledge out to everybody and wake everybody up. Cheers. Thanks a lot.